Hello. I'm having connection issues because I'm out in the garden today, but that's to be expected when I channel. So yesterday you guys got to hear me ramble a little bit and channel. And there was a portion of it yesterday. I had been posting it to TikTok. And when it came back up and finished processing, it stopped on a portion where I was repeating myself. And I was like, why was I talking about me? Here's what happens. When I'm channeling, the second I make it about me, I lose the channel because it's never about me. But I heard myself, now mind you, I'm clairvoyant. So I heard myself saying, I just can't miss. So I would like to get to the point that I was trying to make about that statement. It wasn't about my accuracy. It wasn't about my compass. It was the point that I think I was bringing up seeking your spiritual path, or even getting to meditating, where I was talking about the energy of consistency and discipline, and how we often believe too much in the dark and don't give the light enough credit, that it always conquers, that love is the greatest force in the universe. And I was like, what was my point about me getting stuck on I just can't miss? And here's what I was seeing. Spirit shows me pictures, images, and sometimes I struggle to complete the circuit when it comes to context, because they'll show me pictographs of things. So I was seeing every time I'd stepped into meditation and how quickly the light was available, and how even though I felt like I was messing it up, that the light was so close and so rich and abundant and full, and the support was there. The point I was making was that you can't mess this up. What I meant by saying I just can't miss, they kept showing me, like, you're not failing. Every time you show up for this, the support is there. So in yesterday's video, I'm sitting there twitching a little bit, and you noticed I kind of dismissed it because I kept saying I. But that's kind of the point of this follow-up conversation, is to discuss the ease at which some of these practices can be accomplished. It takes a little bit of faith and a little bit of discipline in equal measure. And the light has shifted. I mean, one of the other things that I wanted to bring up today was the fact that anything that we are now currently seeing, I made a mention at the very end of the video where I said this is the last time we're going to see some of these subjects. But even though it's ugly out there, even though, like, I caught myself wandering social media this morning because I wanted to see what people were talking about, and there is so much. There is so much. I was like, wow! I take my eye off the internet for 5 minutes and it's a dumpster fire. But at the end of my video yesterday, I said it's time to focus on, like, turn the volume down a little bit on the negativity, because it's time to focus on the fact of how incongruent it is with the truth. And the truth is that there is a waterfall of light, support, and a movement. And just because it's not talked about, your focus is in the wrong place if you're not seeing it. So if you want to see it, feed your spiritual side, like your life depends on it, because the next phase of life is going to be based on vibration, emotional intelligence, and unity. And, you know, I got to thinking about what my social media presence looked like, and I would like to be less about what I'm doing, because that's just fluff, right? It's pretty, it's fun, it's exciting, it's interesting, it's distracting. So I had a plan, and I still have this plan. I was waiting for just a few things to slide into place for me to begin, but I'll be doing a podcast this fall where I'll be interviewing master practitioners of all kinds, because I believe the focus should be on what's really going on in the energetic field. We have 5D internet, And now, I was saying yesterday, there is no reason, no excuse anymore for us not to know, because there's enough information out there. And it takes a little bit of responsibility, accountability, and effort, free will, choosing in. Mostly, you know, it's only hard when we choose it to be, right? We start sliding into that ease and grace and trusting ourselves, and the game changes entirely. But I wanted to make that shift. I wanted to make it a big announcement, or a big, you know, like, look here, look what we're doing. And I realized I was kind of off track with that. It's happening now. The shift has already commenced. So the noise is a lie. The noise is not a true representation of what light is doing on this planet right now. It is phenomenal. And if you can see how much information we have in the 3D, we have so much more of that going on right here in the 5D, right here in our own bodies. Spirit is opening this up. And so the lie is that it's all happening technologically, but this is a machine also. Our bodies are shifting. If you're reading the gene keys, you learn about the nerve ganglia in the belly having more connections in the body than the brain does, and how important emotions are moving forward. One of the things I wished I had taught my children when they were younger, or known to do it better, was emotional intelligence. You know, we figure enough math out to do what we have to do eventually, and politics shift and change, and we're learning that stories change. But one of the most important things I've ever learned in my life is emotional intelligence. And when we begin to teach that to our children, they no longer offer themselves from a place of fear. They no longer find themselves questioning against other standards. They find their own. But anyways, my point of this video, because I'll be coming on here a little later to channel actually today's energy, which this just might be it. Point is, you'll be seeing a little bit more of me. I have fantastic practitioners of all kinds, masters, just utterly out here killing it. And, you know, I don't believe in competition. So you'll be hearing from Miss Kayla Franson, if I can get her a moment of her time, as she's playing the new role of mother. She's one of our drum practitioners and does craniosacral massage. I have Holly Hope, who is my mentor. I've got coaches that I've worked with over the years, breath workers, teachers of Qigong, masters of all kinds. And it's exciting to be able to see what people are doing. And, you know, if we're looking for structure, what's true is all of the old structures are falling down. And we're being told to go inward, because some of the old structures aren't working for us anymore. So it's fascinating to see what people are doing with new sciences. I have a client who graduated college, and in the reading I said to her, "Are you getting an award, or are you giving a big speech?" Apparently she had taken some classes in psychology and created an entirely new modality with a mix of these, which is interesting because that's what I do. I have totally mixed modalities going on. I have a little, I go with the phases, you know. See how quick I lost that channel when I made it about me? Anyways, there are mixed modalities out there. We're putting pieces back together, and they don't look like what we once thought they were. But I just want to go back to the message that I was being pinged all day to complete and finish, was that you can't fail at this. You cannot fail at spirituality when you come in with an open heart, a little trust, and faith. And I'm not talking about faith in dogma, faith in yourself, faith in the light, trusting love as often as possible, and not being afraid to get dirty. This isn't easy. And like I was saying yesterday, honesty can be very activating, because honesty is only brutal when you don't like what you hear. Now, one more thing I will say. I got a few phone calls, because you guys know I'm very outspoken. Not as robust as I once was, because I'd be the cat these days. But somebody's like, well, so tell me what inspired you to talk about that. And let me tell you what. I have clients in the middle of breakups. I have clients dealing with the monsters of mental illness and the confusion of drug addiction. I'm watching people try to find their voice and their way in all various kinds of situations, you know, decades old marriages, businesses, from owners to employees. And that's where yesterday's message came from. Most especially relationships, how I'm watching people struggle to find their own voice in relationships. It's 90% of my clientele is readings these days, although I often wish you guys would use me for coaching more, because that's leadership, self-leadership, where you take direction, react versus respond, guys. So when I say it's a collective message, it's usually an ongoing theme that I'm seeing and not related to one incident. So if you feel that it was specific to you, and if you've been watching my channel for a while, you'll know that there are themes that come up. Like if we do a reading, somebody like, oh my God, I'm having that same issue. This is what happens when we call it collective. I can do a reading and that theme will all be on religious challenges or relationship challenges or identity challenges, like who am I? So yesterday's message was about the collective. I would recommend that if you felt it was directed at you or it sounded scary, like I don't want to use the word accurate, but reminiscent of things that were going on around you. Now, this doesn't mean you, but if you see this going on with people around you, their answer was in there. The answer was, how do we give back to this grid and in what ways to help shift that energy for others? Because some of us don't, you know, sometimes I'll talk about things that aren't going on with me, but I think it's important to bring to the light. And so for a lot of us as practitioners, we try to dive in, and it's just a reminder of how we can offer our own energy to that grid and what we can do to support it, because it's noisy out there. I'm gonna go back to my tea, me and Unka, the cat, and I just want to offer my love. And remember, when I was saying I just can't miss, you can't screw this up. The light's already fully on and the gates are down. And all the support we could ever need is there. And that's what I meant by I just can't miss. They kept showing me, show them that when you do this work, the rewards are so incredibly great. Come on in, the water's by.